Good morning. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday fun day. Good morning, Steph. Hello, hello, hello. I got some sleep last night. I did. I didn't go see Michael. I'm gonna go see it this afternoon. I was just really tired. Hey V. Tap the screen because today is definitely I'm about to clean some clocks because there's some stuff that is just, in the words of the great orator Lionel Richie, outrageous. I mean, the Farkle Narkle Bull Dookie on the internet is just out of control. Hello, gorgeous. And thank you for continuously showing me love and support. I love you, Marva. You the best, boo. I appreciate you. So thank you. All right. So, just to give everybody an itinerary, because I know some people jump in here to see what I'm talking about. Hello, Lucilia. Today's conversations, they are definitely correlated, but there are some definite things that I need to address. Definitely we'll be talking about Michael Jackson. That's for my Gen Xers and my Moonwalkers, because there's some stuff that's going on right now. Ever since this movie came out, there have been a lot of positive things that have come to surface that we've been able to enjoy and share. And then there have been some things that are just really not even true and false, as that correlates to our beloved nephew, Shador Sanders. Same thing. For whatever reason, people make their business, the business, to be untrue, a lack of integrity, and a whole lot of other things. So let me just go ahead and get into it. Just definitely keep tapping the screen. Let me put my nurse hat on for this portion that I'm about to talk about, because this is something that I take very serious, and this is no jokes on this part. There are content creators on here right now who are talking about Michael Jackson allegedly being autistic. Now, here's the first thing, and let me give you tea on this right here. If you are diagnosing, meaning you are stating a person has a condition or a medical issue, and you are trying to substantiate it with rationale, that is grounds for impersonating a licensed or credentialed healthcare provider, either a nurse practitioner, or a doctor. That is against the law. It is misinformation and disinformation at its finest. Hello, Callie. And the idea that you're saying these things in this moment where there are not a lot of people, billions, because Michael Jackson's fan base is approximately 4.5 billion people. Billions of people have had one of the most iconic, prolific, one-of-a-kind entertainers and human beings that this world has ever seen. His energy and spirit has been revisited. And in this moment, people are really vulnerable. The things that they felt and they thought and they believed as far as Michael Jackson is concerned, they have come back to the surface. So for people to get on this internet and start speaking to things as if they are credentialed and knowledgeable about what they're talking about, is nasty work. And I'm not going to say her name, but this particular content creator, her base is made up of makeup tutorials, makeup hauls, and people watching her get ready. She's on here telling people Michael Jackson is autistic and trying to explain and rationalize how he was autistic. I'm sorry, what? Okay, so let's try it this way. The first thing is, if you want to talk about something that you believe to be true about someone medically, then what you are supposed to say is, Michael Jackson is symptomatic. He showed some similarities to behaviors or concerns that are associated with the diagnosis of autism or potentially being on the spectrum. What you cannot do is get on here and say, don't get mad at me because I'm telling you Michael Jackson was autistic, and let me tell you how I know he was autistic. No, you don't. Autism is a particular neurological excuse me, is a neurological, let me get my mouth together, diagnosis that is constantly being studied because it is not a one size fits all. It is atypical. It affects everyone differently. That is why there is a spectrum. There is that. But there are some particular things that even get you into the category to even do that. One of the symptoms that significantly tells physicians to even look at that is a person with autism is non-social. They do not socialize with other people. They have an issue with communicating, whether verbal or nonverbal. They tend to be repetitive, or they have an inability to diverge away from things. They do not live in a world of broad, vague description. Everything is cut and dry in black and white, whether they are high end on the spectrum or they are low end on the spectrum and they're high functioning. Those are those things. Now, where some people may want to say that Michael Jackson is autistic is because of some of his behaviors. But let's talk about that, okay? You have a young man who was taken from toddler to the stage. There was no moment at all where he went through school age, adolescence, and puberty in the chronological and socio-behavioral phases that he is supposed to do. I'm finna get to that, Sharda. Hold on, boo. So there were some developmental milestones that were missed. The only thing he got to do was perform. Being the youngest in the Jackson 5, hanging out with a bunch of teenage boys, his direction was to perform and do what you're told. So his development hit a pause button, and he stayed where he was at 5 in terms of his social development. But even that has proven not to be true. Now, he didn't have what we would call a baseline. And I don't like to say normal because normal is relative to who you're talking about. So I say baseline. He did not have a baseline childhood. He wasn't permitted to go to school with the other kids on a regular basis. He didn't get to go outside and play. He didn't get to ride bikes and skate and do all of those things. He was touring. He was making records. He was on TV shows. So there is that. The next thing is, Michael Jackson was quite alert and coherent. You could engage him in a conversation. His sensory perception was extremely acute. His emotional intelligence surpassed most of ours. He was able to read a room and understand. He paid very close attention to not only what people said, but how they behaved. He was always in tune with how other people felt. And that was very apparent in how he carried himself and how he dealt with people. Now, there were some other things at play too, but once you've seen the movie and you read his book, you were able to connect the dots. It was like, okay, that does make sense now. Michael Jackson lived in his parents' home well into his adult years. Now, a lot of people will say it's because he was a big child. No, it was not. The 4 women he was most protective of and closest to were his sisters and his mother. And all of the Jackson children have confirmed that there was ABUSE. And in some instances, there was SEX ABUSE. Michael Jackson was extremely close to his sisters. And the idea of staying in the house, and he will tell you, and everyone else told you, he got the worst of it from everybody because he was the intercessor of his sisters. He was there to protect them, to keep them safe, because he knew his father's wrath. So that explains that part. Okay. The next thing, Michael Jackson did have relationships with some extremely talented and popular children's stars. They shared things with him. When Michael decided to build his own home, he decided to make it a place where these children could also come and enjoy themselves. Now, just because he is channeled into children and his childhood does not make him autistic. It does make him perceptive as hell. And he did something that a lot of adults don't do. He was not dismissive of children and other people. He was always concerned with making certain everyone else was doing well. I can tell you firsthand, as someone who works with children and adults who are autistic, whether they are high functioning or not, one of the things that is distinctive about people with autism is it is very hard for them to see outside of themselves. They channel based on how they are taking in information, processing it, and spitting it out. People who have autism are not liars. They do not have filters, and everything is pretty much in a blockade or a grid in terms of how they think. Michael Jackson had acute and attuned sensory perception, which kind of disqualifies him for the symptoms of autism. Now, did he have delayed social behavior? That often happens as a result of extreme, blunt, acute, or chronic trauma. People will find places in their minds or in their emotional state to secure safety. They go to places where they are able to rebound after something has either triggered them or something is happening to them. Michael had to be in front of the stage at all times. So while these events were happening in his personal life, there wasn't a lot of time to try to process them. So the easiest thing for him probably to do was to revert to places that were happy spaces for him. He kept his books with him. He often drew art. He often reverted back to the story of Peter Pan and Neverland and the Lost Boys because that was a safe space for him. Some of us gamble. Some of us shop. Some of us are promiscuous. Some of us drink. Some of us do substance abuse. Everyone has an outlet that they use when that trigger is set off. But that does not equate to being autistic. The sad thing about it is anyone can say anything on this internet, and with enough polish and the right word, tone, and execution in their delivery can make it be believable. And that is extremely dangerous. Not just because it's Michael Jackson that they're talking about, but there are a lot of people out here who have autism or who have autistic children and relatives, and they are searching for the answers on how do we live with this? How do we help them? And these zealots are getting on the internet, from RFK Jr. on down to the Get Ready With Me makeup tutorial people, telling people this is autistic. If I am a parent and I have a child who is autistic and I am looking for answers and I turn on the internet and you present something that sounds so believable and relatable, now I feel like maybe this is the answer, and it is not. If you are not licensed or credentialed, close your mouth. Even as a nurse, I am limited in the things, or let me say this, I must be extremely careful with how I deliver information as it pertains to medical and mental issues. I must always disclaim that I am a nurse. My scope is limited. I am not permitted to diagnose. I can answer questions to the potential symptoms, and I can direct you or refer you to higher licensure in order to confirm, document, and diagnose. But I cannot come on here and say, Michael Jackson is autistic, and let me tell you how I know. That shit sounds crazy as hell. It sounds crazy as hell. Just because you can't explain something that a person does, just because the person does things that have never been done before, or they're a little different, that does not equate to something is wrong. It's different. And who said the way that you think or the way that you do things is the right way? It's the right way for you. I saw a video clip. Michael Jackson was at a rap concert that Jay-Z and a whole bunch of other people were on, and they asked him to come up on the stage. And he was standing there on the stage. They are in awe of him, and you clearly can see he is in awe of them as well. Now, it did feel a little awkward because this is the the most coveted, most covered, most awarded performing artist of our time. Everyone loves Michael Jackson. And he decided to go to a rap concert, and the rappers invited him up on the stage. And they're standing there looking at him like, oh my God, it's Michael Jackson. And he's standing there like, I'm at a rap concert. And he's just taking it in. He's just taking it in. Something as baseline as going to a concert that you and me just like, come on, girl, we going to the concert. And the people who are on the stage performing, they are awestruck. Jay-Z himself is giving Michael all of his praise, his flowers, his accolades. And he's just standing there like, hey. The sensory perception in that moment for him is, I got to go to a concert. I'm at a concert. I'm just hanging out on stage with Jay-Z and them. He's boy fanning the same way they were boy fanning over him. It doesn't make him weird. It's just different. It's just different. And let me flip the script to even bring it closer to home, and then I'm going to move on to Shador. Those of us that grew up in the hood, those of us that had to get it up out the mud, there has always been an unspoken code that everybody ain't permitted to come to the hood because you don't understand what's going on here, and you just going to come in here and make problems. So that's why we safeguard it. That's why when you pull up in the hood, people stop you. Not literally, but they make it known like what you doing here, and hurry up and make your presence known swiftly because you got to go. And the reason why that is because there is a culture that is in that space. There is a language, spoken and unspoken, in that space. There is a way that we do things. Other people do not understand it. And we have heard and seen how they represent it, and it has always been wrong, false, and totally off the mark. And we guard it. The same way that we are about our old neighborhood. That is how Michael Jackson was about himself. He tried to be a part of the group. But everybody basically told him, you can't sit here. You're not like us. You're weird. You're a freak. You think you're white. You're gay. They came up with all of these narratives. And so, unlike a lot of people, he didn't make no whole bunch of noise about it. He was just like, well, I guess I can't go around them anymore. But then they got mad because he stopped talking. He went into seclusion. What do you want him to do? But he's not autistic. The amount of attention, the amount of audio, visual, and behavior stimulation that was constant in Michael Jackson's world, I'm going to say to you, those are not symptoms. Those are not symptoms. Hold on. Now, let's step into something else, because this young lady kept saying because of the insomnia. Michael Jackson was diagnosed with lupus. It is documented. Insomnia, pain, fatigue, inflammation, loss of appetite, discoloration of your skin, the swelling of your face. Those are symptoms of lupus. Michael Jackson was diagnosed with lupus. In addition to the fact he also had vitiligo. Vitiligo is the dissipation of the melanin in your skin. And his started at about 19, and it moved quickly. Within 5 to 6 years, he had major blotches all over his body, including his face. Now, there is another distinctive symptom of lupus. We call it the butterfly. You will see people with lupus, it has kind of like this butterfly silhouette, and it's red. It looks rosea on their face. If you go back to Michael Jackson's pictures, what you thought was blush on his face was actually the blemish that comes from lupus, in addition to the vitiligo. So he began to use makeup to blend his skin back to its original color. But the blotching and the dissipation of his melanin was happening so fast, in addition to the lupus that was becoming more and more active. And lupus is an immunocompromised disease. It affects appetite, it affects sleeping, which is why he had insomnia. All of these things are happening to his body. He has no control over it at all. And he's still performing. He is still in the public's eye. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't complain. People closest to him knew he had it. And we now see the pictures. So he wasn't trying to be white. He had vitiligo. Now, I don't know, because I didn't have Mike's number and we didn't never talk on the phone, so I can't ask to verify this. There are people who will say that he went on ahead and he bleached his skin so that it could match that. If you've ever seen someone who has vitiligo and you've seen how the melanin in their skin dissipates, the skin will first be patchy, but the pores where the hair follicles come out, you'll still see tinges of melanin until the vitiligo completely wipes out all. I've seen people who bleach their skin. It leaves their skin red. Michael's skin was not red. And it attacked his body from top to bottom, which is also why he always wore long sleeves and pants, because now his skin has no protection against the sun. So he has to protect himself. I mean, again, the nonsensical. People just saying things because it fits a narrative or regurgitating what they hear other people saying without doing actual fact checking or research. Good morning, everyone. And the thing about lupus is a person who has lupus, it normally takes a while before it can even be diagnosed because the symptoms are kind of dormant until they make themselves prominent. So we don't know how long Michael Jackson was suffering from the lupus. But the lupus is attacking his body while the vitiligo is attacking his body. He is on tour all the time. He is recording. He's dealing with the impasse of social development, isolation, and tabloid frenzy. Not to mention what's going on in his family's house, and he's juggling it. Now, anyone that knows someone with lupus knows stress is highly we strongly suggest to people with lupus to manage their stress, because stress is a trigger, and the trigger sets off their little body system, which makes them wide open to get sick and other things. Because remember what I told you, it is an immunocompromised disease. It attacks the immune system. Thank you, beautiful. So while everybody was talking about he don't want to eat, he's trying to starve himself and all these other things, his body was being attacked from within. And the only place that he could find solace and peace was with his fans, performing. But the performing was taking a toll on the body that's already being ravaged by lupus and vitiligo. You see where I'm going with this? How did you get autism out of that? No one ever talks about the other stuff. Because if we talk about lupus, now we're going to bring awareness to a disease that nobody really likes to talk about, because it sounds more sensational if we say autism. It sounds more sensational if we say he's got some social development. Michael Jackson, along with millions of other people around the world, suffered from some of the similar symptoms of things like depression, loneliness. He wanted friends. He wanted to be able to have normal relationships with women without it having to be contractual NDAs and secrecy. Can you imagine having a girlfriend or boyfriend? And you got to create escape routes, driving patterns. You got to use costumes, aliases, and all of that to just go to the movies with your girlfriend. You're falling in love and you can't say a word about it. You can't be goofy and say her name and talk about her. And she can't either. Because your boyfriend is Michael Jackson. One, the record label doesn't think it is a good idea for the world to know that you actually have a girlfriend. They kind of like this spinoff of Wacko Jacko. They like the speculation of homosexuality. They like the idea of people thinking that you just floating off the edge of the cliff. And you're just wanting to go to the movies with your girlfriend and be goofy and kiss and hold hands, you know, like everyone else does. But you can't, because you're Michael Jackson. So your girlfriend doesn't stay your girlfriend long, because this ain't what she signed up for. I didn't sign up to be in love with contracts and NDAs and bodyguards, and I thought you were cute. It's nice you're Michael Jackson. This is too much. You're a natural 18, 19-year-old male, and you're having these feelings, and you have a girlfriend who wants to have sex with you. But because of some of the stuff that's happened at your house, some of the things you've seen on tour, you got some mixed feelings about it. You kind of like how you feel, and you like her too, but you don't know. It's scary to you. So it doesn't happen with her. Now you feel bad because now you feel like it's something wrong. Did I do something wrong? If you kiss someone publicly, it's weird. Everybody else can kiss in public, but you can't. It's staged if you do it. Now, take all of that I shared with you. How did you come up with autism? My heart breaks for him, even now with him not being here. Because since I watched the movie, I went back and I listened to as much of his catalog as I possibly could. And listening to his music in chronological order, especially once he broke away from his brothers after Thriller, listen to the words of what he is saying on each of those albums. He is telling us everything we wanted to know, but we were not listening. We were not listening. I listened to the song Ghosts. And then I looked at the timeline, because once he did Thriller, and Thriller established him as light years away from everyone else, this is when he was now ready to make the break himself from Sony and everyone else. This is when Michael MJJ Productions, his record company, was launching. And you could tell the difference, because after Thriller, when he went into the bad era, that is when he was, the aura around. Go look at his pictures during the bad era. He was healthy. He was strong. Everything about him. And listen to the music. There was Bad. Then there was Dangerous. Then there was Invincible. And if you really want to hear what he was trying to tell you, listen to Blood on the Dance Floor, the remix, because that album there, that's when he solely was independent. He was now releasing music on his own label. And this is when all of hell broke loose in his world, because he was now his own entity. If you go look at that video, Blood on the Dance Floor, look at how he's dancing with her. He is in control. His look, autistic? No. Mm-mm. His song Tabloid Junkie? I'm just saying, let's get back to making it make sense. And Miss Thing, I'm going to be nice. I ain't going to drop your name. Go back to talking about makeup. Go back to doing the get ready with me. Leave the medical stuff to the medical community. There are a lot of people out here in search of answers, and they deserve to have quantified, credentialed, sound, and safe responses to the inquiries that they have about the people they love. There are a lot of people that fit the descriptions of a lot of things. That is why we assess, and we take the information of those assessments individually. Because just because someone does something that looks like what somebody else does not mean they have the same thing. And treating them as though they do, it is dangerous, and it is misinformation. And it has to stop. Just because you can click on a live button or click a create button and make a post or go live and start telling people what you think, put a disclaimer on that. Let people know I am not qualified in the field of medical practice. These are my personal opinions. Based off of what I saw, this is how I think or how I feel. But to go on here and to say, in the voice of diagnosing, do not be surprised if some people start calling or looking for you, right along with the rest of the content creators like you. Now that's what I'm going to say about him. Moving on. Yesterday, Shador Deion Sanders walked across the stage. Now, he had already finished his classes at Boulder in Colorado, and he left Colorado as soon as the draft was over and headed on to Cleveland and jumped in and kept on trucking. As a result of a lot of the things that transpired in his first year, there was no time to go back and walk the stage. And I am so very glad, and I don't know who, whether it was something he postponed himself or if it was at the nudging of his parents or his 3 older siblings, I am so glad that Shador went back to Boulder and he walked across the stage, because milestone moments in our lives count. They are the rungs that we build on our ladder of success. And sometimes you do need those moments to validate within. He's done a lot of work. He had a 3.9 average. And I know people will say, oh, he was in online classes. I've taken online classes, and let's be very clear. Online classes are a lot harder than in person because you have to have a certain level of discipline, constraint, focus, and motivation to continue to do your work well, and have it in a timely manner. There are no cut corners when it comes to doing your classes online. There's nobody to remind you. You got practice, you got a game, you still got to turn papers in, do projects, discussion boards, and everything else. So do not disquantify what he has done because of that. He is a student athlete, and a majority of the student athletes do have a predominant amount of their curriculum online so that it will accommodate their playing practice as well as their academic schedule. So there is that. Now, in a moment where people had an opportunity to stop all of the Farkle Narkle Bull Dookie and report something accurate, and y'all want to tap y'all screen a lot for what I'm about to drop in here, and speak on something else besides depth charts and OTAs and mini camps and all of that, they could have been covering Shedeur Sanders going to graduation. And there were people who did. And then you have your folks who they can't help themselves. So let me try it this way. Kindergarten, middle school, high school. When you complete those, you get a diploma. When you finish college, you get a degree. Now, Mary Kay, you keep playing in them people's faces in Cleveland. I ain't from Cleveland. For you to go online and post that Shedeur went back to Colorado to get his diploma, it was on purpose and with intention. There is spell check and there are editing applications that we all use before we go online and post things. So for you to say he went back to Boulder to get a diploma, you knew exactly what you were saying when you said it. Yes. You're still in your feelings. Your panties are in a bunch, and you are ablaze because that young man chin-checked the Cleveland media, and you didn't like it. And then you didn't like it when his brother doubled down and came back and let you know what you're saying and doing. It is false, and you need to stop it. So now you are taking jabs anywhere that you can, and you're looking very desperate. Yeah, you're looking very desperate. But here's the tea. And let me go ahead and just gag you all the way around the block. Because you posting about somebody getting a diploma. Imagine that. That young man went back to Boulder. And while you're on the internet trying to be condescending and passive aggressive, everyone on that campus was excited to see their favorite quarterback, both his teammates that he was walking with, as well as the rest of the members of the student body graduating at the University of Colorado at Boulder. And the people in the stands were glad to see him come back and be able to walk across that stage. And everybody on the internet that loves and supports him, or has a youngster who is either on their way to college or on their way out of college, was proud of him because it is a commitment beyond measure. And you add to that everything else that that young man is responsible and obligated to. And he was able to go back and walk across the stage and have his degree put in his hand. And you decided to take that moment and be a condescending ass. Your desperation is showing. Your desperation is showing. But you're not alone. Yeah, you're not alone. It seems that there's a lot of people on this internet. So the ladies in the internet Internet Family Reunion Committee, shared another content creator. Yes, I'm on one today. I am on one today. Shared another content creator on here who decided to make a post about she's done with the Cleveland Browns. Who cares? But okay, girl, let's go ahead and visit it since you made it public. Let's go ahead and talk about it, shall we? She made a whole post, much about nothing, talking about how she is done with Cleveland Browns because they have no intention of playing Shador. He's getting traded. Deshaun Watson is going to be the quarterback. Andrew Berry is disingenuous. Coach Todd is mean, and everybody in Baltimore says so. Girl, bye. Oh, I forgot one part. She said she's going to go over there and support the Carolina Panthers. Look, honey, if you want to support the Carolina Panthers, then you could just say that. Nobody cares if you are not going to follow the Cleveland Browns anymore, not even the Cleveland Browns. That sounds so middle school. Well, I'm not going to be your friend anymore. Okay. Holla back. And I don't know which Baltimore Ravens team you're talking about, because of all the coaches that the Ravens did not want to see leave, Todd Monken was definitely one of them. That organization on the offensive side is who they are because of Todd Monken. Mean? Google is free, and so is YouTube, unless, of course, you do YouTube Premium. You got to pay for that. You might want to go and pull up all of the videos, because every video I've seen of Todd Monken, because as soon as they announced he was the coach, you can best believe it. Internet aunties and uncles, we did our research, because that's what we do. The minute you start talking about bringing people into the fold that's going to be around Shador after the foolishness we had to endure last year, no, we need to check your papers. We need to check your vibe. We need to know what's in your background. We need to know, who are you? Is you cool? That's what we need to do. And in every video I saw, Todd Monken was on that sideline, dapping it up, hugging it up, talking to his players. Everything he ever said to the press is 100% player support. Lamar Jackson signed, sealed, and delivered that Todd Monken is who he says he is. So, boo-boo, where did you get that information? Don't answer that. It's rhetorical. You didn't. You're regurgitating that farkle-narkle bull dookie that you're hearing from these other people in Cleveland who are following and listening to Mary Kay Cabot, who apparently don't know the difference between a degree and a diploma. And now I'm beginning to question, where did you get yours? Did you pull it out of a box of Frosted Flakes? Because Tony said, great. Because apparently your credentials are sideline, bogus, and booty too. So let's go ahead and call a thing a thing. I am just saying. Where did you get your information from? Todd Monken was mean to who? Baby, this is football. There is no such thing as mean. This is not Pee-wee. This is not T-ball. This is the National Football League. This is where the big boys have gotten off the porch. You either go hard or you go home. There is no such thing as mean. You put your feelings in a box when you put them cleats on and you walk outside of that locker room. And when you get on that gridiron, you lock it up man to man. Now, if it's too much for you and you can't handle it, then by all means, we wish you best on all your future endeavors. Holla back. Mean. This is not basket weaving 1301. This is football. Get you a pair and grab them and hold them. You say who you are, let them hang. But mean? See, it's women like you and Mary Kay that give women like me such a hard time. Because you're so full of this foolishness, this pick me, watch me, click on me. When if you opened your mouth and you actually said something of substance, something of relevance, something of integrity, something of principle, something with truth, then you would never have to ask. See, I don't do at mentions with people because I said what I said, and you can go look it up if you don't believe me. I don't come on this internet just saying all kinds of things based out of feelings. And if I'm telling you something based off my feelings, you're going to hear the disclaimer before I say it. But other than that, if I said it, it's actual and factual. Trust and believe. Now, what blows my mind for the Cleveland content creators, sportscasters, podcasters, as well as Mary Kay Cabot. What blows my mind, what is so perplexing, what has me verklempt beyond, is how in the hell did you all come up with all of this rigmarole y'all are talking about from a 3-day voluntary? That means I don't have to be there. Voluntary minicamp. How did you get to that? I'm curious. I want to know. Help me. And Kevin Hart said, help me. 3-day voluntary minicamp. How did you come up with depth charts and all that other stuff? So much so that you are incensed. You are done. You have seen it all, and you are no longer supporting the Cleveland Browns. And the season hasn't even started. So you didn't wrote off the whole season based off of the fact that basically Coach Todd and AB said, yo, we're going to open this up. If y'all want to come through and do some workouts, the coaching staff will be here. You want to bring your playbooks? We can go over some things. If you want to run some stuff, we can do that too. But it's voluntary. We'd like to see as many of you as possible so we can kind of get a feel, because some of the things we need to take care of before the draft, we kind of need to see. And they were like, okay, cool. And a majority of them showed up. Myles Garrett didn't show up. He didn't have to. Now I'm sick of this. He didn't have to. He is the all-time leading sack defensive player in the league. He has surpassed all those records. And he did that with a subpar team. If that man is somewhere chilling, trying to figure out when and where him and his girl are doing whatever, he just got off a damn plane supporting his girlfriend during the Olympics. He don't have to be at training. So stop talking about it. There, we said it. Now, as far as everybody else is concerned, Shedeur Sanders is always going to show up if a door is unlocked and he can get in there and work out. It's just what he does. Whether he was in Cleveland, whether he was in Jackson, whether he was in Boulder, whether he's in Canton, whether he's in Dallas, whether he's in Miami, whether he's in Cali, whether he's in Tennessee, that's what he does. And if his facility is closed, he getting on the phone and he calling somebody at a middle school, high school, or neighboring college. Can I come work out on your field and get in your gym? Do your damn homework. Pretend to know something about the man you're talking about. Because you're talking to a group of people who know him. We've known him since he was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there is that. If you're building a brand new O-line and you have brand new people who are coming in and they have opened the door to the facility, why would I not get on my phone and say, yo, I'm Shedeur, pleased to meet you. Are you going to be at the voluntary mini camp? Okay, cool, bet. That'll be cool. Bring your playbook. I'm bring my playbook. Let's talk about it. But y'all so busy spinning off the wall, weird science cockamamie ass narratives that you ain't even paying attention to what's obvious. You spend your time talking so damn much, you don't even pay attention when people are telling you what it is you want to know. Because you want to put a title, a label. You want to check a box. You talking about everybody that ain't talking to you. Deshaun ain't told you shit. Shedeur ain't told you shit. The two people who are in control of this program have told you everything you wanted to know. And you're doing this. No, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. Really? Really? Carolina Panthers, y'all getting ready to get a fan, according to her, because she's firing the Cleveland Browns. And I don't know, how your fan base feels. I'm not going to speak for all the internet aunties and uncles and cousins, but I'm going to tell you about this auntie. I have a problem with somebody who claims to be a fan, who made their decision on continuing to support the organization based off of a voluntary 3-day mini camp. Everybody wasn't even there. They didn't even run through everything they need to run through. Because here's a clue, you can't. You can't, because the positions that are being filled, they weren't going to be filled until after the draft. The next thing is reading is fundamental. If you would like to know anything about Deshaun Watson's contract, time, approximate cost, payouts, all that kind of thing, you can go online and see that too. And based on how much time is left on his contract versus how much playing time he actually gave Cleveland versus how much money they spent, what y'all are saying, it doesn't make any sense. And that doesn't have anything to do with me wanting to declare Shador QB1. That is just a fundamental comprehension of the situation. I buy a car, I never get to drive it. I spend a lot of money on it. The warranty only has a year left on it, and it has already depreciated by 3/4 of the initial value. How often do you think I'm going to drive that car? What I would probably do is, because it does have a year warranty left on it, and that 1/4 of value, I would get rid of it. That was the most simple example I could give. But don't mind me, I'm just a girl. See, that's what happens when you use some critical thinking and some common sense. Never mind football. That's just managing your checkbook. And any man that likes a car is going to agree with me. I'm trying to get as much money I can get for that 1-year warranty that's left in it, and that 1/4 of value that's remaining on the initial buy tag. And we're not going to do anything to get it scratched. We ain't going to mess up those tires. It's just been sitting in the garage. But it's depreciated by 3/4, but it's got a full year warranty on it. And that's a good selling point. That's a good selling point if I want to get rid of it. So what do? I shine it up, and I open the garage, and I pull it out, and I put it in front of all my other cars in the driveway. So that way everybody who passes down the street is like, oh my God, look at Diva's car. It looks brand new. And you asked me about it. Well, Diva, you ain't drove that car. Why was it just sitting in the garage? Well, it was some things I needed to work on it, but it still has 1-year warranty on it. As you can see, it's got a good body, paint job's intact, tires are good. Make me an offer. See, that's not about depth chart. That is about positioning market share. That is about looking at your profit and loss margin in comparison to what you've got to work with, because you're doing a rebuild. And in that rebuild, you have got to pencil in, and you've got to account for collateral damage. What falls under collateral damage? Injuries, loss. How many injuries by how many times we lose? Because that's going to depreciate where we're going in terms of this rebuild. So we've got to eliminate any of the negative factors that we have in the hat before we even start the season. Because there's going to be some things we just don't have control over. Players are going to get hurt. It just happens when you play. There is a 50-50 chance you may lose some games. We're not betting on losing, but we also have to be realistic and factor that in, because that is going to determine where we are in the scheme of things as far as people spending their money on our team, buying tickets, buying merchandise, players wanting to stay and extend and work at getting better, endorsement deals. Where do we place in terms of the NFL? Because that's another thing. You ever notice that certain teams, the NFL is always talking about them? Well, it's because they're winners. Yeah, they're winners. The NFL is the corporation. The 32 teams are the subsidiaries. They are the subsidiaries of the corporation. It's kind of like a McDonald's franchise. NFL is corporate McDonald's, and the other 32 teams are the franchises. Some franchises get talked about more by corporate than others. The Browns are trying to move to the top, because when you're at the top and the NFL is always talking about you and you are a profit margin team, then other things happen along with that. But that's above all of our pay grade. So there's that. Now, Deshaun Watson may play. I don't know. If it was my money, no, he would not. I've paid you enough money and I'm not gotten anything out of you. That is my bought lesson, a very expensive bought lesson. But I am not going to take a chance and put you out there and then you get hurt again. And now this time the hurt is on me. So now I am responsible for paying you some more money in addition to the money I already gave you. But I'll let everybody keep talking about how great you are, because that is moving your stock market value up. And people are moving away from the fact that you've been injured twice, you got a bad shoulder, and all your off the field allegations and stuff like that, because everybody is so excited. If people are talking about Deshaun Watson playing out Shedeur Sanders and everybody loves Shedeur, then this must be. Because there is a such thing as all publicity is good publicity. It just depends on how you spin it. Everybody out here running their mouths except the people who are supposed to. And Coach Todd and AB have said the same thing consistently. And everybody keeps trying to take something else out of it, overstand it and everything else. Well, okay, go with that. I said what I said. If y'all want to build up Deshaun, this is working to our benefit. A lot of y'all, especially you men, you do not know how those contracts really work. And it's very telling in how you're reporting things. You are a prisoner's wife. Tony, I think you're lost. I don't know what conversation you're talking about or the content creator you think you're talking to, but no. I think you're in the wrong room. Prisoner's wife. Hilarious. Anyway, what I was saying, some of you men, you don't really know how the contracts work. And I can tell by the information that you are sharing with people, especially when it comes to Deshaun Watson. Did you even go back and check the timeline on his contract? Did you check how much money they have paid and what that means? Did you go back and check and see how much money the Haslams have recouped from insurance based on him being injured? Have you researched the type of injury he has and the probability of him even being able to stay past 2 games tops on that ankle? See, I'm not hollering and hooting about Deshaun just because I think Shedeur is the better choice. I'm not hollering and hooting about Deshaun because I did go back and look. I did do the research on all of that. And none of that is in Deshaun's favor. Never mind what you see him doing out on the field. There's a $1 billion stadium that's about to be built. AB and D and Jimmy Haslam are counting every coin in their coin purse. They are not throwing any money out the door. They do not have to. And all money that they have already had to write off for people that they having to pay that are no longer even part of the organization, trust and believe. They are figuring out a way to get from up under those upside down contracts. Because it is imperative that they have everything they need to put into this team the last 2 years that they're going to be at Huntington Bank, as well as the building and the development of this new stadium. Now, that ain't football. That's business. Deshaun Watson is the most expensive albatross around the ankle of the Cleveland Browns organization. It was a maximum input with no output return. They haven't gotten a quarter out of that deal. And it's been embarrassing. And it's been very expensive. Thank you, boss. So no one is doing that now. And that doesn't have anything to do with QB1, QB2, QB3. Mary Kay Cabot is spinning the narrative that she's spinning because her time is coming to a close and she knows it. And whether or not Coach Todd or AB take her credentials and don't let her in the press corps, no one is listening to her. And now she's on her tippy toes screaming at the top of her lungs, and she's saying just about anything. And she's taking jabs because she is trying to incite some rage baiting. She wants to have a beef because the truth of the matter, the Sanders family, they are far more significant than you will ever be. No one is listening to you. You know how many people went and looked up Cleveland.com after Shiloh and Mary Kay got into it behind that statement? Her clicks and everything went up as a result of that. But they didn't go over there because of her. They went over there to see what Shiloh said. That is why they are very limiting to what they respond to, because the Sanders don't do anything for free. Let me be clear about that. What you're not going to do is ensue me into a conversation that's going to have us clicking back and forth and having people going to your page, riding my name for free. That's not how that goes. No. No one is checking for her. No one is checking for 92.3 The Fan. And that, again, is very evident because what they are now, how they are talking and how they're reporting, it is very desperate. Now, here's something for you to look at, and this is coming from the girl who doesn't really know ball. You don't believe what I'm saying? Go back to before the minicamp. Go back before Combine. I said Andrew Berry was going to do 3 things in order to make this rebuild successful. The first thing he's going to do ain't going to take any money at all. He's going to go and find every undrafted free agent who is ready to bounce from where they are or is not signed somewhere, and he's going to bring them to Cleveland if they got the stats and the stamina to do what it is they need to have those positions filled. Check that box. He did that. The next thing is he's going to position himself in the draft and pick slots to bring home quality new rookies to fill those same spaces because he wants all his rooms stacked. You can check that box. He did that too. And then the last thing I said he's going to do is after all the dust is settled and everything is done, they're going to free up all the money that they can. So if they have to spend some money, they got money in the bank and it is not going to bother or mess with what's going on with the new build of the stadium. You can go ahead and check that box too. It's done. Thank you, Teach. That's how you know that this is a concise and structured plan. And for everybody that's out there wagging their gums about the Deshaun Watson topic, minicamp is in 2 weeks. And that's for the rookies. Then comes OTAs. Then comes mandatory camp. Now, if and when, after rookie camp, at OTAs and mandatory training camp, the Cleveland Browns show us something different as far as Deshaun Watson is concerned, then you will be justified in what you say. But I will say this till I'm blue in the face. Deshaun Watson has been in Cleveland for a very long time. Deshaun Watson has been saying he was ready to come back, and they wouldn't let him. They have had every opportunity in the world to do a rebuild. But they didn't. You know why they didn't? Because one of the biggest detractors in making this organization great again was the head coach. And they had to figure out a way for the head coach to be removed without it costing them a whole lot of money again. Because it starts at the top. So we've got to remove the head coach. Good morning, T. Once we remove the head coach, we bring in new coaching staff. The next thing is we lay out all the cards and we look at all the potholes and divots in our yard that we've got to fill. And then we rebuild from there. And we bring on a coach who understands that this is about a rebuild and winning. The coach can't come in here with his own personal agenda. Can't come in here talking about much of nothing. We have to have a coach that is engaged. We have to have a coaching staff that understands and is on the same page and same goal. Now, there were some people that we kind of wish would have stayed that left. Schwartz was one of them. But something that some people have to understand is you may want to do something. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're the right person for it. At the time, in the interim, a lot of people felt like Schwartz was the best pick to be the head coach because he'd been there and he'd done such a good job with the defense. I'm going to go back to the movie 300. They met the Greeks at the crossroads. The Greeks said, it's only 300 of y'all. You're not going to win the war that way. The king said, you over there, what do you do? I'm a stonesmith. You over there, what do you do? I'm a carpenter. And you, what do you do? I'm a farmer. He turned around and he asked the 300, what do they do? One band, one sound. They are soldiers. See, and the moral to that is everybody has a specific job. Everybody has a specific job. Some people are good at something and they need to stay at that thing. Could they do something else? Yes. Should they is the question. Just because you have turned out the most superior and well-run defense doesn't mean that you are what we need as the head coach. Because the person coming in to be the head coach of the Cleveland Browns is not just coming in and changing the morale of the locker room. They have a whole city to change. They have got to change the mindset of the Cleveland Brown fan base. They have got to make them believe that the Brownies are back. Did Schwartz give that? No. He's a hell of a defense coach, though. Hell of a defense coach. But he's not. Todd Monken? See, when they went looking for a coach, AB was paying attention to how does this coach engage his team? How involved is he with his team? When things are not going well, is this coach having a temper tantrum? Is he really developing? There is not a quarterback development story like Lamar Jackson's. That baby was crying. Dead at the end of the draft. Just knew he wasn't going to get drafted. And Baltimore said, come on home, son. And then there was Todd Monken. What you say about the Baltimore Ravens? They not who? AB knew there were two things that were definitely wrong that he needed to fix immediately, or his organization was never going to come back. One, he had to restore the morale of the locker room. Two, he had to make the players believe again. We can't make Cleveland believe if we don't make the players believe. And the players don't believe because they don't believe the leadership they have believe in them. Everybody is just there on a contract, just trying to get paid and get through the day. But nobody is really coming in here and really believing in the Cleveland Brown mantra, except 12. That kid gets up and comes in here every day like we won the Super Bowl already. I gotta find a coach that matches that energy. The players really like him. His fan base is off the chain. But he's a good kid. He's got lots of questions. And everything I tell him to do, he goes back to the lab and he does it. He's on time. He's early. He stays late. The older guys like him. They mentor to him. Nobody even asked him to. You know how rare it is for a rookie to be able to walk up to a vet, start asking questions? It's understood your first year as a rookie, you are basically Boy Friday. You go get stuff for all the vets. You're responsible for that. You can stand right here and watch what we doing. Shador walking around asking questions. Even asking people, he was so bold to ask Miles. I want you to do that move on me. Miles said, no, young man, no, you don't. And I need you to be here. But Miles did say, don't even worry about it, young man. I got you. I know what you're asking me. Shador didn't walk out on the field by himself. Exactly, Pac-Man. Every game he walked out, to his left and to his right was Myles Garrett and David Njoku. That's saying something. Tony Brown made it his business that the very first game Shador played in, that Shador was able to walk out and do his ritual the way he does. Listening to his music and amped up. And Tony Brown knew what was going to happen in doing that and didn't give a damn. All the other vets who got waved that were helping Shador. That iconic picture of Shador being picked up in the air by Weller, it cost him. Andrew Berry was watching all of that. And he had to make certain we got to find somebody who is going to continue in this line of energy. Todd Monken entered the chat. And he hasn't disappointed since he showed up. And that content creator that's talking about Todd Monken is just faking. Well, I'm going to say this. Most people, when they telling other than the truth, the mask starts cracking. You start to see who they really are. He ain't changed up. And he didn't shut down Mary Kay, 92.3. Anybody else that got something to say about any member of his team. See, what it is you thought he was going to come in here, and you thought because you all share the clear likeness that he was going to be down and participate in your shenanigans. Todd Monken took this job because he believed in what Andrew Berry said it is he's doing in the rebuild. Todd Monken took this job because one of the quarterbacks in the building is a quarterback he's wanted to coach for a really long time. Now, whether Shador starts or not, the bottom line is this. Coach Todd wanted to coach Shador, and now he is in a position to do so. And it is not a situation that he takes very lightly. Neither does Shador. And not from the perspective of, oh, yeah, this is the quarterback I've been wanting to coach, so he's definitely going to go first. No, because he cares enough about Shador to know there are some things he does need to work on. And he has said that out loud. And even Shador has said, there's some things I need to learn, and I'm excited. I have coaches who are talking to me, who are going to share and show me what it is I need to do. And everything they have told that baby to do in the offseason, he has done it. He has done it. So they know he is serious. He is focused. He is ready for the challenge. This is not about titles and boxes and depth charts. It's about winning. And whether Shador gets to start or somebody starts ahead of him, he is glad and grateful for the fact that he is now playing in a team environment where it is solidifying and supporting the definition of team. He is no longer an outlier on an island by himself. He is a part of the Cleveland Browns team. So again, all you good sports pundits, and y'all know the ones I'm talking about. Just stop it. Please and thank you. Just stop it. You have worn us out and practice hasn't even started yet. But I'm kind of glad because this is sifting through what is real and what is fake. So that way, when the season starts and the winning begins, we will remember all of you, and we will turn off your dials, and we will turn up the dials of the people who are credible, who are factual, who are objective and true lovers of the game, who are delivering the factual synopsis and analysis of the players and the game that we have all come to love. And we will no longer hear you or see you. You will be non-existent in this galaxy of football entertainment. You will sound like distant gnats in the wind. And for the young lady who declared that she's going to go over to the Carolina Panthers, okay, girl. But the Carolina Panthers are also in the middle of a rebuild too. And the last time I checked, with the exception of the Cleveland Browns, all the other changes that folks have, especially when it comes to coaches and coaching staff, the other teams are not happy with what they have at all. So they got some stuff on their hands to figure out. They're going to have to figure out how to correlate these new coaches into the scheme of their organization, especially when not only does the city not like the coaching choices, the players ain't too happy about it either. That's not the play call in Cleveland. Everybody over here is singing and merry like Christmas. They like the choices that Andrew Berry has made. They like what's going on in their locker room. Now, it's pissing off a lot of people who are used to having a Baja humbug attitude about the Cleveland Browns. The folks that's always wanting to report the negative, what ain't happening, we not winning. They seem to like it. Well, it's a lot of other teams y'all can switch over to because that's the scenario that's going on in their city. But it ain't what's happening in Cleveland. That ain't what's going down in Cleveland. You know how many of them players on the Cleveland team posted about Shedeur graduating yesterday? That lets you know that this team is solid. One of their own graduated, and they bigged him up in their stories. They posted about their little brother graduating. That lets you know this team is about to be dangerous. Dangerous. They respect him, they love him, and they want to play with him. Yeah, you going over there with the Carolina Panthers. Holla back. Because it's good over here. Y'all mad because they not mad anymore? Do you know how crazy that sounds? You're mad about success? But I need therapy. I need therapy. Going over there with the Carolina Panthers. One of our nephews is over there, so let me tell you something before you get over there. Since you think you done with the Cleveland Browns and you don't like and you want to go over there, let me tell you something about Jimmy Horn Jr. Jimmy Horn Jr. tell you right now, we don't do that over here. We ain't talking about no negative. We ain't doing it. We talk life into things that are going on, and he could be as displeased as the bottom of his shoe about a situation, but you are never going to hear come out of his mouth is him say anything foul about his coaches or the rest of his teammates. If something ain't right, if it's broke, then we got to fix it, and we got to figure it out and figure it out fast. So if you think you getting ready to go over to the Carolina Panthers and have something to say, Jimmy Horn Jr. is on that team. Xavier Legette is on that team. And let me tell you something about that South Carolina and that Florida boy. They don't take too kind to strangers coming in their house talking crazy. Jimmy Horn Jr. is prime made, boo. He's prime made. So if you think you getting ready to go over there and do some content on the Carolina Panthers the way you was doing some content over here about Cleveland, they don't take disrespect well at all, and they don't give a damn what they schedule or what they record look like. That's Carolina. That's the deep South with an F. So go on over there to the Carolina Panthers. Be done with the Cleveland Browns. It's gonna be something over there waiting on you. You better keep it real greasy. Because here's the thing. Out of all the Buffaloes, Shedeur Sanders is the one that does the least amount of talking. The rest of them, Coach Prime used to have to remind some of the Buffs that we ain't going to speak on that because they will. Shedeur don't give a damn. He ain't saying nothing to you about nothing. That's Shiloh. Travis. Jimmy. Zay. They might say something. And then there's Bucky. Yeah, they might say something. They're going to be real smooth with it. But they're going to let you know. They're going to let you know. And what you need to know is there are depths to the aunties. Let me tell you that right now. There are depths to the aunties. Now, we love all our nephews. Don't get it twisted. But each of the nephews does have a specific caliber of auntie that follows them. If you hearing what I'm putting down. Now, everybody, them aunties in Florida, not Florida. Them aunties in Florida and Louisiana, not Louisiana, Louisiana and Florida, Alabama, Georgia. Those aunties, let me tell you something. Them aunties will dig in your ass. Do not play with those. No. I'm a Texas auntie. And when the aunties from them other states be talking, I just be like, all right, girl, I ain't gonna hold you. You said it all. I don't need to put nothing on that. You good. New York, Cali, Chicago, Wisconsin, Texas, that's a different breed too. The aunties, it's levels, it's depths to the aunties. And we don't step on each other's toes. She said what she said, but I don't know what to tell you. I ain't got no dog in that fight. Go ahead on, sis. Go off. Go off. So when you start talking about you going to another team, just know it's a set of aunties that is specific to that, okay? Jimmy has a specific, them Florida aunties, if you think them Florida boys are something, them Florida girls are something too. I'm just telling you. And the Kakalakis ain't far off. North with an F, South with an F, Kakalaki. Go on over there to Carolina. They will send you on your way, tucked, tied, and boxed, okay? But go on, girl. We ain't gonna hold you. We ain't gonna hold you. You sick of Cleveland? Ooh, well, you better get ready to get sick of Carolina, because they said... Boo-boo, I have had the pleasure of being in the company of the aunties from everywhere. I have been around the aunties from everywhere. And let me tell you something. They take this nephew business. We take it real serious. So I'm just telling you. Don't say you wasn't warned. And that's to everybody else out there who thinks, oh, they just all about Shador. No. The first, yeah, well, you know. But I tell you what, see, the reason you haven't had to hear anything from the aunties as far as like where LaJonte is, Jimmy, Zay, Cam, BJ, Travis, Will, you haven't had to hear anything because no one else has been disrespected or treated like Shador. That's why you haven't heard anything else from the aunties. And that's why you've heard the aunties solidified over there in Cleveland, because Cleveland needed to get it together. Cleveland appears to be getting it together. So as you see, the buzz has subsided some. We're like, okay. All right, Andrew Berry, we see you got it under control now. I think we can fall back. But see, we see Mary Kay is still acting a monkey fool, talking about our baby got a diploma when he got a degree. Miss Thing, what you are not going to do is you will put some respect on his name. His name is Shador Deion Sanders. Graduate, quarterback, philanthropist, global citizen, fashion icon, endorsement ambassador. Put some respect on his name before we have to put some respect in you. Yeah, that's why you haven't heard anything from the other aunties, because the other aunties have been providing support and recon support for the foolishness that's going on in Cleveland. Yeah. See, we ain't had to say anything about what's going on in Carolina, because they received our good nephew with some respect and a proper transition. We didn't have to say anything what was going on in Baltimore, because the same was extended to LaJonte, as it was with Will, as it was when Shiloh showed up in Tampa. The same for Cam, BJ. Yeah, their teams handled their transition with respect. Shador was the only one that was mishandled. And see, when there is some disrespect or mishandling, then we have to pull up. And we can pull up a whole lot of ways. We are quite influential and powerful in our internet presence. And you seem to think that we are just a bunch of silly, Google-eyed women who are just cooing and awing and oohing over these young boys. No, we are not. We carry a lot of power as well. You might want to check our resumes and our bios. We don't just love football. We love a lot of other things. Like, we love to practice the law. We love to practice being doctors and nurses. We love being educators. We're midwives, doulas. We are caregivers and philanthropists in our own right. We are well connected. We are in the right circles, and we are everywhere. We are stronger and more viable than Visa. Play with it and find out. So that's why you haven't heard anything in the other places. But you announced that you were going over to the Carolinas. And now that we know that you're going over to the Carolinas, watch your step. Don't go over there to Jimmy Horn Jr.'s house stirring up no wasp's nest, creating no unnecessary foolishness. That baby is where he is, and he is thriving. Some content creator that was on here talking farkle narkle bull dookie. We don't just talk about our support. We do planes, trains, and automobiles. We do P.O. boxes. We feed them. We support them. We do a whole lot of stuff you don't even see on the internet. We are dead ass serious about these young men. And we are very excited about all of the ones that are coming into the league now. We so excited we didn't created a damn internet family reunion so we can go city to city to support these babies. So be very clear. We're not just a group of women just oohing and ahhing. Yes, he did. And the beautiful thing about most of the buffs, when they get invitations somewhere, they get asked to stay. But the auntie delegation knew last year after that draft that, we're going to be working a lot of overtime, driving Uber, doing DoorDash, selling catfish dinners and some more stuff, because we are going to support the nephews. We are going to go to games in Boulder and everywhere else on the NFL. We will send them gifts to their P.O. boxes and facilities. We will go online and make montages. We will do love campaigns. We will do whatever is necessary so that these young men know that we see you, we support you, we love you. And we don't give a damn what that make you feel like. You have two choices. You can roll with it or you can roll out. Well, there's that. All right. Per usual, I think we've covered quite a bit of information today. We learned that if we're not a doctor or a nurse or licensed credential, we should not be diagnosing people with autism. The next thing is you can't really give a full sports analysis of a team based on a voluntary 3-day mini camp, and the whole team is not even there for them to facilitate the full scheme of their playbook or what it is they're going to do. They're still rebuilding from 2025, so you can't even speak on 2026 and what that's going to be like. But if you are of the belief that you can call a quarterback a QB1 after what you saw at a 3-day mini camp, then I'll say it again. Like I said in my post earlier, perhaps you should not be commentating on sports. It's not your thing. And lastly, I encourage people to utilize Google for more than recapping what happened on The Real Housewives or Love and Hip Hop or any of the other foolishness that you use it for, and start utilizing it for the context of what it is you choose to post and go live about. Because just because you say something doesn't mean we're going to run with it. And those of us that have excellent common sense, critical thinking, as well as logical thinking skills, we are going to check and vet everything that you say. And if you come on here saying all kinds of crazy things, then we are going to call truth to power and call a thing a thing. And everyone who went on here talking about depth charts and calling Deshaun Watson QB1 based on that 3-day mini camp, I will say this to all 38 of you in here. You may want to revisit the validity of the people that you're paying attention to, because that is mad. That is straight mad. A voluntary mini camp, and you've already decided who your quarterback is going to be. You said it with conviction. It wasn't like, you know what, I really like Deshaun. I like the way that he threw. I would like to see him be QB1. No, that's not what you said. You said go ahead and declare it now. And everybody else jumped on the bandwagon with you. Emmanuel Acho, Chef Zay, Keep the Vision TV. Shall I keep dropping names? My God, today. Now, I done had to unfollow a whole bunch of people who profess to be sports pundits because is you cool? A 3-day voluntary mini camp, the whole team is not even there, and you done already declared who is who for next season? You didn't say this is who I like, this is what I'd like to see. You said this is who it was going to be. And you know where you got that information from? The same twit that don't know the difference between a diploma and a degree. Ain't never strapped up and played no football in her life. She is not credentialed by any football association or any of that. She just on here talking about her feelings. I feel like I should have won the lottery. I feel like I should identify as one of the socialites in Upper Manhattan. I feel like I should be in $1 million home in River Oaks and have a driver. That's what I feel like. Thank y'all for the follows and the screen taps. That's what I feel like, you know? But who gives a damn about feelings? It's only about facts. All right, my loves. We've spent enough time together this morning. You can go to my new post on my page. It's basically what I talked about earlier. Thank you, sweetheart. And I have very much appreciated the gifts and the screen taps. But on a real note, y'all, before I get off of here, let's normalize going back to concrete thinking and stop giving audience and attention to this stuff that is nonsensical. And we don't have to be loud about it either, you know? Just turn off channel 0. We don't have to pay attention to it, because that's why they exist. Is because people give them audience. They click, they comment, they go back and forth with them. Let's just stop it. And I'm not even telling you to block people. You can just unfollow them. They posts come up, just hit not interested, and it takes it out of your FYP. They then become non-existent. And that's how their noise gets silenced. Mary Kay is still relevant because people keep commenting and going to her stuff. We don't have to. Go and support the sports pundits who are doing the research, who are objective, who have integrity, who are principled. Now, Fallout Media is the crash out king, but it doesn't change the fact that what he says, it is actual. Pac-Man is really good. I love his delivery. It's very mellow. I can pour me a glass of Moscato and just kick back with some popcorn and just vibe while he sits there so calmly and explains things. I love his delivery. King Son in Gaming, he's going to be playing a game while he's telling you the ins and outs about Cleveland. But he knows what he's talking about. Life and Ball is the same way. Doc Holliday TV, same way. Very factual in what they deliver. Let's State the Facts too. Extremely factual. They vet the information that they share with us. And they're speaking from either former players or they have had experience in the journalism realm, so they know how to bring the news to us. None of them are on there talking about their feelings. And none of them then got on here talking about no damn 3-day minicamp and now they can tell you what the season is going to be. My God, today. So that is that, my loves. All right, I'm going to get off of here. It's time for me to be an adult and get to work. Everyone enjoy your Sunday today. Again, everyone who is sending in their payments for the Internet Family Reunion, they are being received. You are being added to the Excel spreadsheet. By Tuesday, everyone that is paid is going to get an email. The deadline to make your purchases for the package is on the 4th. You can go to Eventbrite and in the search bar type Internet Family Reunion 2, change the location to Cleveland, and you will be able to purchase your ticket. There are 2 choices. You can do the package, which is the game, as well as the meet, greet, and the reunion. Or if you're planning on buying your own football ticket, then you can just do the meet and greet and the family reunion. If you're not going to choose to use Eventbrite, because Eventbrite is there if you want to break it up into payments. If you have already paid your deposit, there is an email with the Square link that you can just go in and take care of it. Pac-Man, I sent you an email because your ticket to the events are comped because you're coming as a member of the media. I couldn't comp your game ticket, baby. But I did send you a link for you to pay the balance of your deposit. So there is that. So everybody, that is that. Everyone go out there and do great things. As always, protect your peace and your mental health.